Hello, Galactic family, and welcome to maybe potentially one of the most important videos that I've ever really put out there. And today I'm going to be your interdimensional newscaster. That's what I feel like today. I have got a lot of information regarding what's going on the planet. Right now, there are certain words that are being shadow banned. So I'm going to be very careful not to say certain words. But we all know what this is about. I mean, there's stuff going on this planet. Today, we're going to be talking about deep state Illuminati, what's really going on behind the scenes, what all of you need to be aware of, what we need to be prepared for, and I guess, news straight from the Galactic Federation of Light. So I just want to begin with, if this video resonates with you, donations are always appreciated and or super chats. You guys know, super appreciated as always. And if not, no worries, just sit back and really enjoy this content because everyone needs to know. And as always, please subscribe and share this video if you feel like more people need this kind of information, okay? So I want to just begin with kind of stating where this information came from. So for those of you who don't know me, or maybe for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm a psychic channeler. And one ability that I've been able to kind of, I don't want to say master, but one ability that I've been able to work with throughout the years is something called remote viewing and astral traveling. And so what I've done for the past probably 5 years, well, even longer than that, since 2012, I've been astral traveling. Hi, Heidi. Thank you for that super chat. I've been astral traveling and remote viewing and going over to a giant Galactic Federation mothership that hangs out right outside of Earth's atmosphere. And I have been conversing telepathically and sitting in on council meetings. And this would be considered the Palladian, and I call them the Security Council, because it's a council of about 8 Palladian beings on board this Galactic Federation mothership. And they are in charge of Earth's safety. I've been, talking with them for years now, long before, this ever kind of hit or this ever happened. So I knew exactly where to go and who to go to, for this valid information, okay? Okay, so what else did I want to say about that? For those of you who have no idea who the Galactic Federation is, basically the easiest way that I can sum it up is the Galactic Federation is a government system for the universe, and every solar system has its own coalition of federation, okay? But essentially they're the good guys, right? They are here for our ascension, for our awakening. One more thing that I want to say as well about them before I get started is, what do I say? Hold on. Yes, I have seen the Galactic Federation frazzled before. And in that way, I've gone up there when plans haven't necessarily gone their way or haven't gone as expected, okay? And I'll tell you right now that they are pretty calm. Their energy right now on board that ship about what's happening on planet Earth, they're pretty chilled out, which should give you a good indication that, this has been long planned. Okay, so this past Saturday, which was 2 days ago, I really felt the call intuitively to go over, astral travel over to the Palladian Security Council on board the Galactic Federation, and I wanted to talk with these Palladian beings and ask them a series of questions. And so what I did was I sat at my computer because I knew how important it was to have this documented. I was definitely not expecting to relay the information because typically I don't relay the Galactic Federation information to humanity directly in this way. Okay, this is the first time I've ever actually done this. And so I sat down, I asked them a question, I received their response, I typed out their response, and then I went in and I asked them another question telepathically. I received their response and I typed it out. So today I've got 3 pages of Q&As that I asked the Galactic Federation and the Palladian Security Council about what's going on right now at this time. And like I said, I'm going to try and stay away from some keywords that are being shadow banned across the internet right now. Okay. This is all I'm going to do, guys. I'm just going to literally read exactly what I wrote, but just know that it was all channeled. This is not, external information. This did not come anywhere from the third dimension frequency. This is all the Palladian Security Council. So take it or leave it. That's what I always like to say. All right. Okay. Newscaster. Let's begin. Okay, so, and I'm just reading this off, guys. Okay, so I decided to go over an astral travel to the Galactic Federation, GFL Mothership, and the Palladian Security Council, since I know them all too well, and they would be the ones specifically dealing with this crisis. And then I said, let's start with a silly question first. And so I asked them, should I be doing mainstream videos for humanity or staying away from them? So I'm talking about conspiracy-related videos, what's really happening, deep state-related videos. And this was the council's response to me. So should I be doing mainstream videos for humanity? Council. Dear One, we recommend that you stay away from these videos and information as a whole, since you are meant to be sharing a greater perspective beyond the Matrix paradigm. When you share information about an already limited system, you will attract individuals with a limited mindset, and therefore you are stuck in the Matrix and creating disharmony around you. Pretty straight up. Don't do them. All right. So me. Next question. Thank you so much for that validation. Can you now share with me any information or all information related to what's going on this planet right now at this time? Council. Your planet is currently undergoing a system cleanse, and I had to put that in quotations. They wanted me to. Your planet is currently undergoing a system cleanse, similar to your recent juice fast, which is funny. It is needed at this time. This is all contracted and in the plan to happen. Do you remember many of your clients recently feeling like they were going to die? They were just intuitively picking up on the information that has been dripped into the collective consciousness to be prepared for death. You were also not far off by stating that this is more related to an energetic death that the collective is currently undergoing. Me. Was this virus man-made? Who made it? Who put it out there? And what was their intent in putting it out there? Council. It was created by dark forces to attack the RNA within humans. This attacks the communications from the DNA to make necessary proteins in your body. This has the potential to shut aspects of the body down. Individuals who specifically have a poor connection within themselves will be weaker during this attack. This also forces people to go inward and not only listen to their own systems, but to begin to control and strengthen communications within these systems. As a human, you are powerful enough to boost your immune system just by intending it. This virus was created a long time ago by the Chinese government and was specifically meant to be launched at this time on the planet. Their intent was to depopulate as well as to drive fears into the masses during this great awakening. Hopefully that resonates with a lot of you. And because the Galactic Federation and the Palladian Security Council, I don't want to say that they talk in code, but I want to say that one sentence has like a whole download of information. And I hope that you guys are taking that in. And if you have to re-listen to what they said, because every word makes an impact, please just go ahead and re-listen to this video, okay? Because I really want to repeat almost everything that they're saying so that it really sinks in, but I hope that you just re-listen and it makes sense, okay? Basically, they just said, look, guys, you are strong enough with your intention to boost your own immune system and overcome this, okay? Next question. Me. What about the conspiracy theories of 5G technology and vaccines? Council. 5G is simultaneously being rolled out with this virus, or when this virus is. This is to help cover up the technology and what it's doing to the people. Fortunately, there have been many issues in pushing the 5G agenda, mainly because we won't allow their technology to work, and we are sending them through a rabbit hole to figure out why it's not working. They are attempting to push an agenda to vaccine everyone and essentially take what they spray into the airs and put it into your veins. They are potentially thinking about actually putting the vaccine into the virus, into the shot, just so that people do get better and that it's accepted. Most governments will attempt to make this vaccine mandatory, but will fail in their attempts. Hopefully that validates a lot for a lot of people. Me. What about the arrests and the takedown of the Illuminati, pedophile rings, and CEOs all over the world? Palladian Council. One of the reasons why we have allowed this to take place is so that we have a clear time to act. We have slowly been building up to this by warning many of these individuals many times that they can no longer conduct business the way that they have been. The system on Earth has been corrupt for a while, and this new paradigm will no longer allow it to continue. Me. What are the best things for all of us to do at this moment in time? Counsel. Stay calm. Be prepared with supplies, but ultimately, consciously working on yourself and going within is the best place to be. Many people all over the planet are constantly watching the news and allowing this to threaten their own lives and vibration. This is a test to everyone to raise their vibration beyond this attack. Me. What are all of you doing within the Galactic Federation to help us with this or to oversee this event that's currently happening? Council. We are sending out massive waves of high vibrational frequency for the collective to help mitigate the low vibrations coming from all of the fear within the individuals. We are not assisting individuals at this moment because everyone is currently needing to choose their own fate. We are also diligently working to gather star councils on the planet in order to do grid work for Mother Gaia. We have all of our own troops within the planet Earth who are taking down massive amounts of dark forces and shadow governments. Me. What is the positive take on all of this? How is all of this helping the collective? Council. There needed to be a big collective event like this for many reasons. Think about this as similar to global disclosure of ET in extraterrestrial life. Instead of leaving a bad taste in the mouths of people about us, it needed to be something completely unrelated, but also force them to isolate from others. Everyone is being forced to choose fear and distraction over hope and positivity. This is also a mass cover for many operations currently taking place, like the reset of the global political, sociological, economic, and environmental realms. The majority of the individuals crossing over, are actually at a lower vibrational frequency and were not meant to be on the planet moving forward. This is a massive purging of old frequencies, including many of the deep shadow states. The dark side has no idea that the Galactic Federation has been overseeing this and working with this for many, many years, ever since the virus was developed, and even beyond that. Me. When will we see a resolve, and what does that outcome look like? Council. The answers to these questions are completely infinite, which means that there's an infinite number of possible realities, and it's really hard to say. There are many potential realities, of course. Things should be settling going into July 2020 and be completely exposed in a way around the end of this year. And I just thought that was interesting that they used the word exposed, right? Things will be completely exposed around the end of this year. The outcome is clear, however, although timelines are not. The low vibration and corruption will be purged, and this will be, in a sense, a propelling of the mass awakening on this planet. During this disaster, it will force people to wake up. Similar to someone getting into a car crash and being at their rock bottom, the darkness will force people into the light. Me. A lot of people have been experiencing increased glitches in the matrix. How does this correlate, if at all, to everything that's currently happening? Palladian Security Council. The fear frequency, this is really cool, guys. The fear frequency creates a chaos static in the air, which means that most individuals are caught up in that frequency and are not currently consciously creating their existence. Individuals who are able to focus with clear intention on what they want are cutting through the chaos and creating glitches in the matrix, as you refer to it as. For a few, this is an easy time to manifest, since you will not be competing with anyone else for space within this reality. Last question. Me. Is there anything else you think I should know, or we should know, at this time? Palladian Council. Everything is happening exactly the way it is meant to. Have trust in this, and don't get caught up in fear. Me. Thank you so much. I really hope that that information resonated with you. I hope that deep down it allows you to have more calm in your heart, because that gave me so much peace of mind, and they were so calm. Like, they're so compassionate towards us at this time. They are so calm and collected. I recommend that everyone rewatch that video maybe a couple of times, because each sentence that they gave was so in tune with the vibrational frequency that it's important that we dive a little bit deeper into what they were saying and how they were saying it. So with that, I'm going to leave you all in this really short, really beautiful video. But I'm going to be posting more video, and I'm about to post a live video just for my members only about hopping into different realities and why that's so easy for us right now at this time. So if you're interested in more content on this, hop over to my membership page. You can sign up right from my YouTube. Other than that, everyone, let go of fear, be prepared for sure, but go within. This is a time for you all to expand your consciousness, raise your vibration, and step into a new reality. Welcome to the Great Awakening.